Hey, thank you. That was very generous. I missed that riding mode. It had a green flame painted up the side of it. It's nice to be back. And thank you all for having me. Thank you for being here. Time and distance have facilitated an admiration of such different things than those that drew us to Oak Grove. My folks were attracted to the curriculum and the surroundings and the focus on the environment. As a younger person, I wanted and maybe needed a longer leash, and that was attractive too. And while Oak Grove delivered that longer leash, to my surprise, it delivered a years-long succession of rigor and experiences and negotiations that affect me today. Accidental hallucinations on malaria drugs and empty stomachs in India. Waiting out a sunset in Death Valley so we could see the stars from the tops of dunes. Watching history teacher Patrick Foster ride hell for leather towards the horizon, feet flailing wildly as his body rotated in the saddle like a slowing clock hand. His immaculately planned and executed class trip to Monument Valley derailed by the wiles of a wildish Mustang. To say these experiences at Oak Grove were formative wouldn't give them enough credit. On that India trip at Rishi Valley School, we bumped into a journalist named Mark Edwards. Long steeped in Guy Webster's celebrity photography, I'd planned to do something like that after school, a glamorous and attractive and possibly lucrative business. But Mark was a different kind of photographer. He was a committed environmentalist who'd co-written Changing Consciousness with David Bohm. And Mark had an activist idealism about photography and what it could do. It was narcotic, the idea that with a couple big Nikon F5s, you could make a lasting impact, that you could create a message and inform an opinion rather than pleasing senses and feelings. And that idea set me on my heels. A few days later, I saw Mark around the school and expressed the idea that everything I was trying with my camera felt like faking it. And without missing a beat, Mark replied that sometimes if it doesn't feel like you're faking it, you're not doing anything new. It was a conversation that set the hook. It's a conversation I think about often trying to build a magazine. That's what I do now. And every one of them is a white sheet. 100 pages of something new. And on a good day, I still feel like I'm faking it. I wish I could put my finger on what makes a new idea so appealing to Oak Grove kids. It could be as simple as having to work for it. Such small classes mean everything is a negotiation. Where you're having your Spanish class. Is it the classroom or a donut store or the Oak Grove? What sport will everyone play this semester? How close to the atrium should the adobe ovens be built and what should go in them? Maybe it's as simple as that. All these experiences are made from little pieces of independence and consensus. Jody's talked about being present and Chris Jamurti about the timelessness of understanding. It's not hard to see how that relates to curiosity and to critical thinking. You don't know what a resource that is until you go looking for it elsewhere. You see it in the weird disparity of alumni careers. TV producers and attorneys, chefs and physicians, neuroscientists like my brother Jeff, and farmers and teachers. That shared value of pausing to hear someone and the flexibility to change your mind. That these things are taught and coached and appreciated more than anything is what I've come to admire about Oak Grove. They're all things I'm thankful I've learned, imperfect as I may be at them. Thankful for the school, of course, but also for my family, for knowing that Oak Grove was just the thing that I needed at 12 or 13. And especially for my brother, who was always right there 1 year behind me, showing just what school would look like with the right amount of earnestness and good humor. Young people rush through things. We did as students here, trying to take bigger steps to high school than to college. I'm still guilty of it, mistaking speed for change. But those hard-won moments when you can gather yourself up and listen and seek understanding, act upon what you've learned, those are as important now as they were when the school sprang up out of a little meadow 40-something years ago, and maybe more so. Knowing those moments and being present for them, delighting them, is something that I wouldn't have without my time here. Without this funny years-long graduate-level education and working with small groups. Listening and being present and negotiating out your problems, settling where you put those adobe ovens, and the flatbread with honey will suit everyone just fine. That's a lesson that comes later, maybe. Thank you.